I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be, she's confused? What the fuck? Have you ever had a woman say that to you? You were dating her, things seemed to be going well, and then all of a sudden she says, well, I'm kind of confused. I'm not sure where I'm able to be at this point in my life right now, or, I just need a little time, a little space. If you hear those kinds of things, basically what the woman is telling you is that you've done things to cause her to no longer feel safe and comfortable around you, and therefore she's backing away. Usually it's in response to a guy who's chasing and pursuing and trying to force things to happen, instead of just simply planning one date a week, from the time you meet her up through, because if you do that, if you just plan on like calling her once a week to set a date, then usually by the second or third week in, and after maybe the second or sometimes maybe even the third date, what happens is she'll start to reach out to you in between the time that you call her, because you're doing things real well, and basically she doesn't want to wait, because what's happening is a sexual tension is building within her, and she's thinking about you more and more because you're doing everything right, because after all, you're so different than every other guy that she goes out with and meets. And she'll say things like, his inaction is attractive, or he's indifferent. And in other words, what she means is that you're not affected by what she's doing in her life. It's like no matter what, you're going on with your life and your purpose. And when she calls you, she's basically hoping that you'll create the next fun-filled romantic opportunity for sex to happen, also known as a date. And that's why she calls you, is because she wants you to facilitate that. Now, women aren't going to come right out and ask you out on a date, or even ask you to, get together. Sometimes they will. It depends on where they're at, how comfortable they feel with you, and how aggressive they are, or how high their interest level is. Because what I found is what I like to call super alpha females, women who are very successful, very beautiful, in great shape. They got a lot of great things going on in their life. They might be a model, supermodel. They might own their own business. These type of women have their choice with men, and they know what they're looking for. And they know guys like me and other guys that are my students are very hard to find. As a matter of fact, the title of my book is How to Be a 3% Man. And when you figure that 97% of the other guys are at various stages of having no absolute fucking clue of how to understand women, you look at it, you go, fuck, I don't have any competition. It's an amazing place to be when you understand this stuff, because most of the guys don't. And therefore, these super high quality women, when they find out about you, they're going to track you down and come and meet you, and they'll send you friend requests on Facebook and things like that. And that's the beauty of focusing on being at your best personally as a man, and being successful and loving whatever it is that you do. Just because you radiate success, you radiate happiness, and you'll draw other happy, successful people to you. And like attracts like. And so the more successful you become as a man, or at the very least, what I should say is the more successful you feel internally as a man, it has nothing to do with the size of your bank account, but how you feel inside. You just beam this natural, dominant alpha male energy out there, and all men and women will respond. They know the dominant male when he walks into the room, because he's usually the guy that's saying the most boldest things, he's the most daring, he takes the biggest risks, and he doesn't give a fuck what other people think about him. If people don't accept him or like him, he thinks, the way I look at it is you just kind of, well, it's their fucking problem, because at the end of the day, it really is. Because if somebody's projecting hostility and nastiness towards you because you came up and started a conversation with them or whatever, like say you come across and you talk to like the one person out of 100 who's just going to be an asshole when you start talking to her online, what's really going on, it's not that they hate you or that there's something wrong with you. What's really going on is you're simply a reflection of what they wish they could be. And so if you're happy and you're going through your life and you see this girl, you think she's really attractive, and you say, hey, what's happening? And she's just real crabby or grouchy. That's her fucking problem. That's what's going on internally. Dr. Wayne Dyer has this analogy that I love. He says, when you squeeze an orange, what comes out of it? Orange juice. Why? Because it's an orange. So what happens when someone squeezes you? When someone puts you under pressure, what comes out? Love, kindness, humor, nothing gets under your skin? Or are you like most people, you get pissed off, you get upset, and you just start projecting nastiness and venom onto the other person? That's something to think about. And so I got an email here from a guy who was dating a gal, and basically she started backing off, and he started chasing harder, and then she said she was confused. So he says, "Hi, Corey. I came upon your work recently, and it is really speaking to me. I wish I had known about it earlier, given some of the mistakes I have made. I wanted your advice on something. I plan to set up a time for a personal phone/Skype coaching session for more in-depth real soon, but I need some help quick." And one thing I want to say about that is that I get a lot of email from the internet, and sometimes it may be several days or a week or two before I'm able to get back to you with a response, because I got to focus on the people who are actually paying me, and I got to answer their emails first. And so when I get emails from the internet from people that aren't my customers, I just answer them in the order that I can get to them when I can get to them. I mean, the day is fast approaching where I'm not going to be able to respond to most emails that I get, but we're not there yet. So don't lose hope yet. Just write in your questions. But if you really want to get a hold of me right away to help you with the situation, go to my website, click the products tab, and book a paid phone coaching session. That's the quickest way that I can help you. Otherwise, you're going to have to be patient and wait, and I'll get back to you when I can. So he says, "I've been seeing someone, Lisa, on and off for about 6 months. She aggressively pursued me. I guess I was somewhat indifferent, but I got hooked. Then she backed off, saying she was confused, missing her ex." And so in other words, what basically happened is things were going well, and she was liking you, and she was pursuing you, and then your interest level started to go up, you started to like her more, and what happened was you started changing how you were showing up and how you were acting. And so what happened was when she backed up, because all women do this, all women back off at some point just to see how you handle it. They can't help it. It's not that they think, okay, well, I'm going to purposely not call him now. Some women do, but it's just internally they're driven by their emotions, and sometimes they just feel like, I don't want to talk to him or I don't want to call him. And when that happens, a day or two goes by, and most guys freak out and they start blowing up her phone, thinking there's something wrong, that there's something to do, that that's something they got to say to her, or some clever line that they can throw at her, and what they really need to do is nothing. Because women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. That's a scientific fact. You can Google that. Women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. It's a scientific study. You can Google Corey Wayne and that'll come up. That's it was an article I linked to this scientific study, I don't know, a year or two ago. But it's fascinating, and so you got to give a woman the space to miss you. And so what's basically happening here is that you didn't do that. She backed off, just, maybe you spent a lot of time together, and so she just wasn't feeling like she wanted to see you again. And instead of waiting for those feelings to come back, you jumped all over her because you had fear of loss. And just like Master Yoda said in the Star Wars movies, he said, "Fear of loss is a pathway to the dark side." He is much better. I'm not a very good Yoda. When I was a kid, I could do a great Yoda, but as an adult, can't do it anymore. So he says, "We get together, sometimes have sex, then she regrets it, backs off, and says she just wants to be friends. When a woman says that, when she says shit like that to you, just say, I'm not interested in that. But hey, give me a call if you change your mind. You know how to get a hold of me." Simple as that. And then you just walk away and never fucking look back. You never contact her again. You never do anything. Because she wants to change the relationship, and you're going, no, I don't want to go along with that. And so you just walk away, because it's all you can really do. She says, this is how I want to show up. And you say, well, that's pretty awesome, but, I'm not interested in the friends only thing. I'm not interested in being your male girlfriend. I'm interested in having an adult sexual relationship with you like we've been having. And I just want to have fun and have a good time together. And if you're not into that right now, you're not down with that, give me a call if you change your mind. And then go about your life, start meeting and dating other women and practicing these things that I teach with other women, because repetition's the mother of skill. So the more women that you interact with and you practice these things I teach, you realize it's not a fucking big deal. Like I was talking to one of my clients today, I think it was like my third coaching session with him. And he just went to one of the, I'm not going to mention them all, but he went to one of the big malls in the United States, and he got 2 numbers, and he was just going there to make eye contact and to smile at people, because he was so overwhelmed thinking it's such a big deal. And so he started making eye contact and smiling at people. He was like, well, this is pretty fucking easy. And then he just took it the next step and the next step and the next step. And before you know it, he's asking for phone numbers and getting phone numbers, and chicks are giving him phone numbers. And when I got a boyfriend. And the reason being is like he doesn't mention the boyfriend. He's like, hey, can I have your phone number? You want to meet for coffee? Meets her out, and he starts boning the chick. And so I haven't talked to him like 2 weeks, and so I'm talking to this guy, and he's got total fucking swagger. He's totally cocky. The guy's almost 60 years old, and he's fucking a 29-year-old. And when I was talking to him 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago when I had my first session with him, he's just like, oh, I'm an old guy. Nobody's going to want me. No beautiful young chick. And so this chick's doing yoga, and like this is what happens every time I start coaching someone. And so what you need to happen is you need to go out and you need to practice these things so you can see this shit for yourself. It's really not a big deal. And then you start succeeding with women. And what happens is this builds your skills while you're not talking to this other chick. And so what happens is next time she gets in touch with you, you're just different. You got swagger. There's something about you. She can't figure it out. And you're confusing her in a good way. Where she's just like, she can't figure it out. There's something different about you, but she can't put her finger on it. And so she can't help it but to pursue you more and want to find out about you more. So he says the problem is we're involved in, he basically says that, it's kind of stressful because he backs off and then she pursues him and then she backs off and then he backs off and then she starts pursuing him. And he says it's a crazy pattern and it's a bit too stressful. And so what's really going on, dude, is that when you do things right, she starts to chase you. And then what's happening is you're starting to chase back as soon as she starts to pursue you. And what happens? She backs off. And that's where you're fucking up and going wrong. And so when you chase too much and she backs off, just hang back. This will help you build your emotional muscle and your emotional strength because what's happening is you're too hung up on this girl. And so he says there was a fundraiser and she had texted me several times about looking forward to seeing me there. However, when I arrived, she was engrossed in a conversation with a woman who was hitting on her hard. Lisa is bisexual, by the way. That's fucking awesome. I saw the two of them leave together, and of course I was hurt and disappointed. It's like she left with another chick, and it's like, how is that a fucking bad thing? It's awesome because there's a really good chance that, if the two of them sleep together, then, and since you're sleeping with her, then, and if she's hot, then you get the two of them together. And so he says, I did get attached to the outcome. She hasn't texted me since. Should I tell her what I felt about it? Fuck no, absolutely not. Because that would be weakness. And at the end of the day, these are your insecurities and these are your issues. So you have no right to dump them on her and expect her to deal with it. You need to be a man and deal with it yourself and just put it in your little box and just say, you know what, this is an attachment I have, and this is something that I need to deal with internally and grow my own internal strength. He says, I'm going to run into Lisa at future events for the nonprofit we're involved in. It's like, what do I do if I see her with the other woman I hooked up with? He says, I'm feeling like not going to the events. It's like, if she's there, it's like, and he also asked, should I bring a date to these other events? Like, fuck no, go by yourself. And so if Lisa's there and you see her, like, hey, Lisa, what's happening? And she'll say, oh, hey, this is my friend, Leslie or whatever, or Janet, whatever the fuck her name happens to be. And you just look at her and say, and you're shaking her hand, and you're saying, hey, it's nice to meet you, Janet. And you say, Lisa, honey, I'm really looking forward to you. Well, I'm fucking that up. So I wrote something really down that I thought was really good for this. And so I'm fucking up myself because it's almost 12 o'clock midnight, and I had a whole afternoon of coaching sessions, and my fucking brain is like a marshmallow right now. And so you just got to be patient with me. Let me find what I wrote here. And he said, so if you see the two of them together, you basically what you want to say to her is you just say this. Just like, oh, Lisa, it's like, baby, I'm hoping that you're going to share Leslie here with us. And then they'll have a chat. They'll laugh about it and joke about it. And then you can just say, hey, I'd love to chat with you girls, some more about, I got some other people I got to say hello to. So if you guys want to get into some naughty fun later, come find me or just shoot me a text. And then just walk away from the conversation. And so in essence, you're just basically, you're saying away, it's like, wow, I think, Leslie, you are absolutely amazing. You look at Lisa and you say, Lisa, honey, I hope you're planning on sharing Leslie with me. That was the vibe I wanted to get into. Like I said, I'm fucking beat as hell, and so I'm looking forward to getting this video done.